Hello and welcome to Learn a Little Sign Language. My name is Ellen and I'm a librarian with Fauquier County Public Library here in Warrenton, Virginia. And we've been offering this sign language series as part of our summer reading program this year. American Sign Language was developed by and for the deaf community. It allows full access to language that people without hearing cannot have otherwise. However, sign language can also be used for children with normal hearing to help facilitate language development and cognitive development. If you have a young child, and you can start from the day you bring your baby home from the hospital and expose them to signs, children can sign much earlier than they can speak. It's typical for children to say their first word about the age of 12 months. If a child has been exposed to sign language, it's typical to see the first sign produced at 8.5 months, which is much early. Why would that be? Well, think about it. The fine control of lips, tongue, teeth, your vocal cords, control of your breath to produce speech is much more precise and exacting than being able to use your hands and your arms to communicate. And think about young children, before they ever say their first word, they lift their hands up to be picked up, or they learn to go bye-bye, or they point to things they need. So if you expose them to formal signs for things that they need and want, they're going to start producing those signs earlier than they would be able to speak. And if you teach your child those signs, teach them how they can ask for things through signs before they can speak, then that means you may have less crying, fewer tantrums, and less upset if children are able to communicate earlier. When you use sign language and speech together, words are presented visually, kinesthetically, and orally, and they are able to start producing actual spoken words earlier. Research has proven that using sign language before your child can speak will actually quicken or speed up their ability to speak and develop language. And research has also shown that those strides last for many years down the road, even after children have stopped signing because they don't need the signs to communicate. Their spoken language and their understanding of language will be higher than children who weren't exposed to signs when they were younger. So if you are going to sign to your child when they're young, obviously you aren't fluent in sign, or if you are, you're fortunate, then it's no problem. You can just dive in. But you would want to start using signs with a little child that they see often. So what is something that you sign many times during the day? It might be, come here. It might be, eat, because that's something we do often during the day. Milk, your little baby. How many times a day are you going to give milk to your baby? So words that are used over and over again are good signs to start with. And words that are used over and over because they're used in different contexts. Words like more can be used to mean a lot of things. It could mean more food. It could be more hugs. It could be more jumping. So using a sign that can be used in many different contexts can be helpful. Also, want. If you use that sign want, your child could learn to say want, and combine it with pointing or gestures, so it will help you be able to understand them. I started using signs with my granddaughter when she was just born. And I'm going to show you one little clip, but this clip is from when she might be a year old, a little older than a year. And I want you to see if you can see her signs. And one of the things you will notice is that she's going to use some of what you might call baby signs. For example, that's when, you know what baby talk is. It's when babies can't say the word clearly. So instead of saying water, it might say wah wah. Or instead of saying daddy, they might say da, da. So the same thing happens with signs as children are beginning to say them. Instead of saying cookie, they might say cookie. Instead of saying mommy, oftentimes you'll see mommy. So it looks approximately what it means, but they haven't quite fine-tuned it yet, just as in speech. So take a little peek at my granddaughter Caroline when she was very young. New sign, please. Cracker. More. More. Oh, good job. Other signs that are good to present to young children aren't signs that are used over and over and over, but signs that are things that fascinate them, that they're so interested in. Two of my children, the first sign that they learned or the first word they used was a pet in the house. Bird for one of them, and dog for the other. So sometimes you want to see what the child is really fascinated with. What do they really get interested in? For example, bubbles, blowing bubbles, or the fan. If they have a ceiling fan, some children are totally fascinated with the fan, and they'll be happy to sign fan to get you to turn it on and off. Or light. A lot of children are fascinated by the lights that they see. And of course, some of the favorite words that a child learned early are mom and dad. So when you see your child really wanting something over again, maybe it's tickle. They want more tickles, or maybe it's a particular toy in the house. Maybe it's a teddy bear that they really love. Pick that object that they love and then add that as a sign to their repertoire. What I'm going to do now is review some of the signs that you can use with a young child, but instead of showing them to you by myself, I'm going to have my grown-up granddaughter Caroline help me show them to you. And now it gives me pleasure to introduce my guest speaker, Caroline, my granddaughter, who is 5.5 years old. She will have a birthday in July, so she might be 6 by the time you watch this movie. And I have had lots of time with Caroline since she was born, and we used signs a lot when she was a little baby. First, we're going to show you signs that you use many times during the day, over and over. And an example of that would be the sign for more. More. You take your two hands and bring them together like this. More. Drink. Drink, because we like to have drinks a lot of time during the day. Caroline loves 2 drinks. Milk and water. She likes water too. She drinks lots of water. Remember, that's using the letter W going right next to your mouth. Milk and water. And she likes to eat crackers, especially fish crackers. Goldfish crackers is one of her favorite snacks. But even tastier than crackers are cookies. Cookies. That's right. You might not have to sign cookies many times during the day, but that's a word that you'll probably remember. Where. Take your pointer finger, shake it. Where. Where are your socks? Where are your shoes? Eat. 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 Play, because children should be playing a lot during the day. That's right. 2 Y's, and they shake across from each other. You know what looks almost like play, Caroline? Silly. You take one hand and wiggle it in front of your nose for silly. Caroline can be pretty silly sometimes. What? What? What do you want? Oh, after we've been eating and drinking, usually we need to, and after we've been playing, we need to clean up. How did you know what I was going to say, Caroline? Clean up. That's right. And then in the evening, we have to go to bed But before you go to bed, if you're lucky, you get to take a bath. Baths are really fun for children. Oh, so those are words that you usually use multiple times during the day. Another sign that you can use at every meal or for any time a child wants something is the sign for please. Can you show us please, Caroline? Please, please, I want more. Want more. And it's important to know the sign for sick. In case you get sick, you take two hands, one goes on your forehead, one goes on your tummy. You feel sick. And there's a sign for hurt. Seems like children get little hurts all the time when they're learning to walk and playing outside. But you can use hurt to say, I hurt. My head hurts. My throat hurts. Caroline used to get a lot of earaches when she was little and tummy aches. So that's a sign that you can use to tell something important to your mom or dad. So now we're going to look at some words that are just fun and fascinating for children. And it's funny because sometimes the first words that children learn to say aren't words we think they would learn, but just things that they're fascinated with. Like, for example, if you have a pet in your house, like a pet cat, two of my children, the first word they learned was a pet. Do you remember the sign for cat, Caroline? That's right, cat. And we always had a dog in my house. So dog. And a sign that Caroline needed when she was a baby was the sign for key. She loved to get the keys out of her mommy's purse. So you have your door and you have your bent key, your bent finger for the key, and you unlock the door. Keys. Babies love to jingle them and chew on them and drool all over them. Caroline has always loved to read books. So she learned the sign for book very early. Can you show us the sign for book, Caroline? Thank you. And she loved to jump. So she liked it if you picked her up and you jumped with her, or you held her and helped her jump. So she could sign that to get you to do that with her. Ball. She always loved to play with balls. Balls. She liked to roll balls and kick balls. Lights. She loved lights. So you could sign light on, light off, light on, light off. What else did you love? Oh, you loved blowing bubbles. That's right. She always loved music too. Music is you put one arm out and it's like you're sort of conducting music over your arm. Like this. Music or singing. Let's see if I'm remembering. Oh, cars. She always liked to drive in the car. She knew which car was daddy's car and which car was mommy's car. That's a word children need to learn early, mommy and daddy. What about grandma? That's right, grandma. Grandmas are pretty important too. Okay, I think we've covered almost all the words. Oh, what about this one? This is an important one. That means potty. Potty. And that's a good sign to be able to use if you're in public. Caroline, can you think of any signs that I forgot that we should tell people? Or did we do all of them? Are we finished? Are we all done? Or can you think of anything else? Shoes. Shoes. You did learn a lot of songs. Caroline knows our ABC song, but we were mainly thinking about songs that you would use with little children.
I think we're done.
You think we're finished? Okay, I think we're finished too. Thank you so much for visiting with us and helping us today. Bye, Caroline.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that little lesson with Caroline. And this actually brings us to the close of our very last lessons of our Learn a Little Sign Language. I hope you have enjoyed the session, and be sure to check out the materials that we have at the library. We have developed a list of materials related to ASL and deafness and deaf culture if you want to take a peek at that to help you look for materials. Anyway, I hope to see you at the library as we open up and start coming back into the building. And if you've taken my class, if you want to come in and say hi or I love you, I would love to see it. Anyway, see you later. Bye.